Welcome to Above Replacement Radio. I am your host, Chris Gianta. I might be becoming a bad baseball fan who can't enjoy the romantic things because of advanced statistics. 15 years from now, I want to be on the early baseball committee. Over there on the other side of the screen is Daniel Curran.
I literally have the Fangraphs hoodie, the baseball reference t-shirt, just repping some stats, you know what I'm saying?
It's not necessarily Hall of Fame. It's not necessarily above average, but we can guarantee you we are better than just the standard replacement level college sophomore.
And welcome to Above Replacement Radio, where we're talking baseball kind of whenever. I'm your host, Chris Gianta. Over there to my actual left, as you cannot see on YouTube, unfortunately, is Daniel Curran. How you doing, Daniel?
Chris, I'm doing pretty well today. We got spring training games going on. We got walk-off pitch clock violations, clock-offs as they're calling it. And I mean, it's electric. I mean, there's nothing cooler than a walk-off pitch clock violation.
Yeah,
you can't convince me otherwise.
Yeah, it is. It is funny, and it's very early stages. I know for sure.
Yeah.
Because we watched some minor league games last year, and it did not look like this. It literally looks like they're playing the game like it looks like they're playing the game like there's a car waiting for the game to end and for it to cross the baseball field.
Yep.
Like it's played at the same pace that like. You know, how you jog when, like, you're at a crosswalk and there's a car that just stopped for you. Everything's just at a brisk pace right now.
Yeah. I don't know if it's a hot take or not, but I think there's going to be more pitch clock violations in spring training than during the entire regular season plus postseason.
Yeah, I would probably second that.
Yeah. I mean, like, people are getting used to it now, and also it's less consequential in spring training to accidentally not get ready.
Exactly. Yeah, for sure.
I do think they should probably up the timer in the ninth inning and later. I feel like that's probably something that should be done, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Like, make it 20 and 25 seconds in the ninth and later.
Right. Yeah, I guess. And relievers typically work slower as it is, so I guess they do need more. They do need a little more time. But yeah, it's been interesting to watch for sure, but ultimately it's definitely good for everything. It's been a good weekend for like all the old school people to pop off.
Yep. It's been a Hall of Fame weekend for baseball purists.
It's like, hey, you get what you wanted there.
Yeah.
You got what you want. Hey, this is the new baseball, I guess. This is what they wanted. No, yeah. It'll be fine. We'll all be good.
I think we won't notice it by June.
Yeah.
If we're being honest.
Yeah, I agree. Unless we do, unless it's even worse, which probably won't happen, but it would.
Everyone refuses to adapt.
Yeah.
Like, people are taking automatic strikes and automatic balls out of, like, protest. They
have to make a new stat, like OBP minus automatic.
Yeah.
Like adjusted automatic on base percentage.
RA9 OBP.
ARA 9 automatic runs allowed per 9. It's could be a disaster, but probably not.
It'll be fine.
It'll be fine. Baseball is being played. I still say it's not baseball season. It's not.
No, it's not.
It's not baseball season until opening day.
Correct.
Right now, it's the other seasons. It's not baseball season. But we're going to preview the AL Central today, but we're also going to get into some other topics. First topic of the day.
You and I both have rants to do today.
Yeah, we do.
Unlike we actually just both scheduled that.
Yeah. We do love to schedule, a nice rant sometime and at a random point. And but the first topic of the day we actually have to get into, not one of our rants. It was a signing that happened yesterday. Manny Machado gets 11 years, $350 million from the Padres. They're keeping him around for an additional. Did they buy out this year too?
No, they did not.
Okay,
it starts next year.
So an additional 11 years for Manny Machado.
He basically signed a $500
million deal.
Yep.
Like that. This guy, he won. He won for sure.
Mm-hmm.
cool cheat code is start your baseball career when you're 20, and you'll get a lot of money.
Yeah. And just like keep being really good, but like make sure you get the opt out.
Yes.
Like if you don't get the opt out, you kind of ruin the whole purpose of the game.
Yeah, Manny Machado wins.
Actually, it might be. It might actually. Oh no, remember. Wait, no. I think they did buy out this year. Yeah.
Okay, so it's 15 years and like 470.
Yes.
So not even.
Yeah,
not
his.
Even
You
that
know,
much.
it's an 11-year deal that goes from 2023 to 33.
Okay.
Okay. So they just completely restructured it, and worth noting, I think it was paid. Who was it? I forget who. I think it was like Hector Gomez or someone. Some reporter. That said, the Padres is still trying to work out an extension with Juan Soto too.
Yeah. It would be like, and there's a lot of implications with this. First of all, obviously it's very good for the Padres keeping maybe their best player around for an additional 6 years. 6 more years than they would have had him if they, probably 10 more years than they would have had him if they didn't sign him because he would have opted out. But like 6 more years than the original contract. But
next year's free agent class is also going to be real thin.
Or no, an additional 5 years. My bad. Sorry for that. I'm doing the math out loud here.
Yeah.
But yeah, an additional 5 years because they bought out this year. Blah blah blah. But anyway, but yeah, the Padres sign him, but I think it would really be the same way that like Steve Cohen has been kind of a wake up call for the MLB showing what owners are actually capable of.
Mm-hmm. And specifically, yeah, and the Padres as well.
Specifically, so with Steve Cohen doing this, but not just with the Padres spending, but if they out of Tatis, Soto, and Machado were able to keep all three and not trade one of them like at a deadline or in an off season, like that would be a big deal for baseball too, because like most teams, even some big market teams, are not like keeping like all their stars around.
Correct. I'm looking at next year's free agent class as far as bats go. Yikes. Oh my goodness. The best. So I'm on to outfielders now on MLB Trade Rumors. The best player I've seen as far as like hitter and total player is Matt Chapman. Left fielders, I mean, it's not really. Cody Bellinger, I guess, if for the 4th year in a row, if he goes back to 2019 form. Harrison Bader, that could be an interesting one. Although I think I wouldn't be surprised if the Yankees extended him.
I can't wait for the MLB Network promotions next offseason.
Yeah.
Where it's like, where will Matt Chapman go?
Yeah. Well, I mean, okay, so Joey Gallo, he was already free agent the last 2 years, last year. Yeah, it's really just Shohei Ohtani and Matt Chapman.
Yeah.
Pitchers are decent. As far as pitchers, you have like Julio Urias, Aaron Nola, Blake Snell, and then also Shohei Ohtani again.
Yeah, you have a good class. And there's always just like one random guy who...
Javier Baez could opt out of his contract, so that could be one.
But there are also just random guys who just pop off right before free agency.
That's true.
But
also,
on
like,
radar.
so many guys are like in their 30s already, though.
True.
Like, I'm looking at the catcher market. Every single free agent catcher to be is 30.
Yeah.
The youngest one is Jorge Alfaro and Austin Hedges.
Yeah, I don't know. They take longer to...
Josh Bell, I suppose, could pop off for the Guardians and then opt out. Rhys Hoskins actually is a decent one.
Yeah.
He's already 31. Rhys Hoskins could be decent. Joey Votto's contract's going to be ending.
Yeah, it'll be...
I wonder if he retires.
The Padres are going to offer him 5 years.
I cannot see Joey Votto in another uniform. That is not allowed.
Yeah, it would be odd.
I don't even think he would. I think he'd retire before he goes to
another team. He's been around for so much suck. Like, why would he go? He shouldn't go anywhere else.
It's like, dude, you've already like wasted your entire career in Cincinnati.
Yeah.
Like, you did so much for that team.
Yeah. Yeah.
Why leave at age 40?
Yeah, the bats aren't great on the market next year.
Yeah, what a absolute yikes.
We're still pending some extensions going on.
Yeah.
Like if Nola and Ohtani get extended this spring.
Oh
Like,
my God.
say goodbye to ARR in the winter. We're not doing a single episode until previews.
Blake Snell just gets like Blake Snell gets like a $250 million contract because the team is that desperate.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah, honestly, I'm kind of surprised. Lucas Giolito's a good one, but also he didn't do very well last year.
He needs to come back. Yeah.
Jack Flaherty, he needs to come back.
Yeah.
The starting pitching market is definitely the best.
If we're talking
free agent market,
if we were outlooking this after 2019, we'd be like, whoa, this is
yeah,
Bellinger,
exactly.
Flaherty, Giolito, all in the same free agent market. Oh my God. They're gonna combine to get like $1 billion.
We would be talking about it the same way that people were talking about like the Machado and Machado too.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my God, Machado opts out. Machado Harper offseason.
Yeah.
The 2024 to 25 offseason, unironically, is like where it's at though.
Yeah.
Like obviously a lot of the guys will probably be extended by the time that actually happens. But
True.
Man,
you always face that.
Juan Soto's gonna be a free agent after that. Max Scherzer, Garrett Cole. No, Garrett Cole can't be a free agent. That doesn't make. Oh, he's a player option. Okay, Garrett Cole is a player option. I don't think he's gonna do that.
No.
Chris Sale, if he's still healthy. Paul Goldschmidt, Zach Wheeler, Jose Altuve, Alex Bregman are all free agents.
Yeah, outside of Bregman, it's a lot of guys in there. A lot of like really good guys who happen to be in their mid-30s, at least at that point.
Soto,
yeah, who's going to be like 17 years old.
Yeah, exactly. That's going to be a good class.
Yeah. Going back to Soto though, and the Padres here. Yeah, like I think with a normal franchise who's been acting normally over the past few years, you'd be like, yeah, well, this means, Machado, them signing Machado means, they're going to
they chose him over Soto.
Yeah, they're going to happily let go of Soto, be good with his time. But the Padres have not acted like a normal franchise over the past 3 years, I'd say.
Which is great.
Awesome. It's very good, especially for the fan base.
Big fan of that.
So yeah, I don't put a Soto extension off the table whatsoever.
No.
And
what's their projected payroll for this year?
Now would be the time.
$262 million. What's the luxury tax threshold?
I think it's like 230, maybe 220s. But Soto
210. Okay, so they are over it, but who cares?
I don't know if
to be fair, a Soto extension would not even add much.
No.
Right?
But even like Soto, he rejected $500 million from the Nationals.
Was it 500? I thought it was $400 million.
I think it was $500 million he rejected.
Wow.
And that was when he was like streaking in that time frame.
Yeah.
But I don't know if now would be the time to, if from a franchise perspective, you'd want to extend Soto, but you wouldn't. If you're Soto, you don't want to get your extension now. You might want to wait till you have like a better year.
Yeah.
This upcoming year.
Yeah, I would do that as well. Wait till he put up like a 425 OBP.
Yeah, like he had,
and then and then it'll be your last year. Some team will.
Yeah, because by Soto standards, he didn't have a great year last year, and he ran into a little bit of bad luck. And this year I think he'll be benefited by the shift going away. Mm-hmm. And he'll probably just do better. He also adjusted to a new environment in San Diego in the middle of last year.
Yeah.
So, I would expect better things, but also his defense went from like a positive to a bad negative. So, we'll see. But I imagine the Padres are trying to get him now because he's at maybe the lowest value he's been at in a while.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Like since his rookie year.
And you could even argue that he was at a higher value then.
Right, yeah. But, yeah, I think Soto had like a 3-win season or something like that, according to F4. So I imagine they're talking, but Soto probably wants to like wait around a little bit, I'd imagine. But yeah, Machado, we'll get into the MLB Top 100, but Machado's ranked number 5 in there.
Yeah.
I don't think that's I don't think that's unfair to him. I think that works out. He's around a top 5 player at least.
Yeah.
So yeah,
definitely top 10.
Definitely a top 10. And yeah, one of the best third basemen in baseball for sure. Arguably the best. MLB Network had him as the best. But yeah, just overall good. What were your thoughts on the Machado deal?
The Machado deal was great. It was so cool because, I mean, the Yu Darvish contract got signed, and a lot of people were saying, like, why are they prioritizing Darvish over Machado? Of course, not realizing that they can do both because they don't care.
Yeah, well, they signed Bogarts, and it's like, oh, well, they have their left side of the infield for the future.
Yep.
The Padres are going to try to have, like, 11 guys in the fields in a couple years. The way this roster is aligning is absolutely nuts. I imagine they might have to put Tatis in the outfield again.
They actually are probably going to have to, or like second base or something.
Yeah, because I mean, I don't know if they. I know they've discussed. There's been discussion about like a Ha-Sung Kim trade. Like he's also very valuable.
It is very funny that they have their middle of the infield locked up, or the left side of the infield locked up, and Fernando Tatis is not a part of it, who is also locked up.
Yes.
Like he might not play shortstop again for the rest of his career.
Oh man.
What a thought.
Yeah, and you still have Cronenworth, who's great.
Yep.
He's like a consistent 4-win player over the last 2 years. You have Ha-Sung Kim, who had like 3
excellent
wins.
defense.
Excellent defense and like average offense last year, which is a good recipe.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I imagine. I guess Cronenworth is going to play first now.
That's what they have it as, and they have Kim at second.
Mm-hmm.
Outfield left to right: Soto, Grisham, Matt Carpenter.
Yeah.
Which once Tatis comes back, I'm sure. I don't know. I mean, I don't know what they do. I guess they probably do put Tatis in the outfield in that spot, right? Because you don't want to take Kim's defense away.
Yeah.
You got to have Cronenworth at first because that's probably the best option you have. They're probably gonna have to put Tatis in the outfield, which is very funny. DH they have Nelson Cruz. Maybe they do that as well. I don't know.
I think at some point it'll probably be like a rotating cast at DH between like Bogarts, Machado, like trying to give a guy a half day off.
Yeah.
It'll probably just be that. That would probably be good, especially Bogarts. Like I know he had defensive improvement last year, but I could see him becoming a DH later on.
Yeah.
In his career.
Definitely before Soto, Machado, or Tatis.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a fun team they have in San Diego, and it's going to continue to be that way. They've now signed 3 guys into their 40s, which is interesting.
Very fun.
It's better than not signing those guys.
Yes, of course.
People.
It's funny that we keep being like, oh, they picked that guy over that guy. Oh no, they actually had both. Well, they picked those 2 over that guy. Oh wait, never mind. And now the final one is Soto.
Yep. That's final boss.
That's gonna be and we knew that was gonna be the hardest one. I mean, he was gonna ask for the most money, He
literally rejected $500 million.
Yeah.
From the Nationals. Maybe just the Nationals were that unattractive to him.
To be fair, I mean, what does he still have to do in Washington? He won a World Series there.
Yeah.
The team is without a future.
Yep. Yeah.
Why stay there?
Yeah, it's like, I could be the highest paid player right next to Steven Strasburg and Patrick Corbin.
Yep.
Yeah, so the Padres are keeping their guys, which, as we mentioned with the Darvish thing, good because also they don't really have a farm system to replace anybody with. So if like a Darvish or a Machado did leave, it wouldn't be good news because there's not really a guy that they can have come up and take his space for either of those scenarios. So it makes a little more sense why they're signing 3 guys into their 40s with Bogarts, Darvish, and Machado.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, anything more on the deal before we get into our rants?
No, I think I got nothing else.
So yeah, I figured I'd talk a little bit, and obviously you're welcome to jump in here as well. I would like that.
Yeah.
But I'm talking about the MLB Top 100, and I feel like I've always sort of wanted to talk about this on the show, but we just never have really gotten to it because it always comes out like during previews. So
yeah, we're gonna roast it.
Yeah, so we'll roast it a little bit. And
Yeah.
now I will say, a lot of it, like most of it, I don't really have any complaints about. Maybe I'd restructure a couple things, but there are some bad, just underrated, overrated things with some players. And we like to talk about where players rank because we like to go over where we think importance for guys on a certain team, or like where they rank among the best. And some of them I don't really have like too much of a gripe. I just have question marks. So I just went like down the list from like 1 through 100. Mike Trout, number 3. What like I get it.
I do get it. I mean, given first of all, Shohei Ohtani is very hard to make an argument against, and Aaron Judge, given the season that he just had, and also like the fact that Mike Trout has not been able to stay on the field for 2 seasons now, I kind of get it, and I'm not gonna.
Oh, I was saying I get it. Like
read too much into it.
I get it. I get him being that high.
Oh, okay.
Like I don't know if I would have put him number 3.
Wow, you would have put him further back.
Yeah, I guess. I mean,
he still had a 999 OPS last year, did he not?
He did, but he played 119 games.
He had 499 plate appearances. Like he almost qualified.
Yeah, and a lot of these guys I look on like a 2-year scale too. So he's played like less than half the games of the last 2 years. And his defense is average. His base running is a little above average, and I think there's some guys that have really like made their mark over the past couple of years, where Trout is obviously, I mean, he's one of the best hitters in the game still, and I think he's probably a top 5 player. But yeah, I don't know. A lot of it is subjective though, and in terms of him hitting, I'd probably still say he's the best, like consistently. He's still the best hitter in the game. But yeah, he has had a little bit of injury trouble. Mookie Betts, number 4. This kind of surprised me.
Yeah, that's fair.
He's 14th in position player F4 over the last 2 years. So yeah, I'm surprised he was put top 5. Someone I would have put over Mookie Betts was Jose
Ramirez.
Jose Ramirez.
Yeah, that guy should have been number 4.
Yeah, he's Ramirez was put number 8, which I'm glad he's getting top 10 recognition, but
that's like the bare minimum.
He deserves even more. He's second in position player F4 since the start of 2020. So that's 2 and 2.37 seasons where he's second in position player F4, and he's third since the start of 2016. So he's been doing it for a long, long time. I might have had him ahead of Trout. I might have had him number 3.
I wouldn't even have blamed you that much.
Like he's the only guy to have a 2020 season in every full year since 2018. That's 4 seasons with it,
and that included a 2019 down year.
Yeah, exactly.
When everyone was having seasons out of their minds, Jose Ramirez was not doing as well, but still 2020.
Yeah, he has a top 5, I think a top 5 BSR over the last 2 years. That's a base running statistic. He has amazing metrics on his defense. A great defensive third baseman, and along with that, like 40% above average at the bat. Usually, I should check out the exact numbers of what he's been able to do at the plate, but it's he's just consistently. He's been consistently amazing, and he just doesn't get recognized enough for it. Like, he just gets kind of the bare minimum. Like since the start of 2020, his 162 game average is a 148 OPS plus, 25 stolen bases, 36 home runs, and then along with that, I mean, just really, really good defense. And there's not 7 players better than him. I'm sorry. Just not happening. So yeah, that was a gripe. And Trey Turner, number 11, he should definitely be top 10, and I think he should be top 5.
Wow.
He's second in position player F4 over the last 2 years and the last 4 years. He's been.
How many players do you have, by the way, that are like in this?
I have a good amount of players. I can skip some.
Okay.
But Trey Turner should have been top 5, I'd say, because he's been amazing offensively, both at the plate and with on the bases. I think my biggest gripes happened more toward the end.
Yeah. There was one that really stuck out to me.
There were a couple. What I'll say first of all is Jeremy Pena at number 64 is a bit high.
Yeah, yes, I agree.
He had a 101 OPS plus last year.
Mm-hmm.
Like I get he had a great Gold Glove defense
and a great postseason.
Had a great postseason, but we can chill on Jeremy Pena a little bit. It's part of the winning shortstop on a winning team.
Yep.
Stereotype that I hate. But Sean Murphy at number 84 was very low to me. He's one of the best catchers in the game. He's 30th in position player F4 in the last 2 years, and his career F4 per 650 plate appearances is 5.5. So he's definitely way above 84. He should be a top 50 player. And Logan Webb at number 97 is extremely low. Since coming back from injury, Logan Webb. Since coming back from injury in 2021, Logan Webb has a 2.81 ERA and a 2.83 FIP in 291 and 2/3 innings pitched. And since coming back from that injury, he is 3rd in innings, 7th in F4, 6th in ERA, and 5th in FIP among qualifiers. And they had Rhys Hoskins ahead of him.
Yeah.
This guy, Rhys Hoskins, is not better than Logan Webb.
I don't even know if I'd put Rhys Hoskins in the top 100.
I don't think so either.
If he's there, he's like between 100 and 90.
Yeah, he had that bat
spike though.
He had that bat spike, but
they inflated so much of this on postseason.
Unlike this postseason.
Yeah.
Yeah, like he's not Rhys Hoskins. He's a good hitter, but he's not better than Logan Webb. And Logan Webb, I would argue top 50, but I would have been fine if like top 60 or 70. But 97 is far too low for Logan Webb, because it's like in the 90s there, it's a lot of like moderately good players, and Webb is a lot better than moderately good. But yeah, who stuck out to you?
Aaron Nola at 91.
I think he was 79.
Was he 79? For some reason I thought either way, 79 is still not good. Aaron Nola is so much better than where they put him. He led the majors in F4 from July through the end of last season. I'm pretty sure he just led, not in general, but I think he had the second highest F4. No, he had the highest F4 in baseball among pitchers last year. He had the second or third or first. I'm trying to figure out where he was in FIP. He had a 2.58 FIP last year, a 3.25 ERA because the Phillies defense hates him.
Yeah.
Like, we've established that so many times on this show. He had a 6.3 F4. And I get if F4 is not the best thing you want to use for pitchers. Sometimes B-WAR is better. Sometimes just flat-out ERA. Like, there's nothing that suggests that there are 78 players and however many pitchers are better than Aaron Nola. That was outrageous.
Yeah, they had Brandon Woodruff ahead of him.
I would put Nola above Woodruff.
They put Wilson Contreras ahead of him.
That's not even a discussion.
Who else? Yeah, they put Jeremy Pena ahead of him. Yeah, you know.
That one was crazy to me.
Yeah,
I thought it was 91. It turns out it was 79. I still think 79 was outrageous.
If you look just at ERA, it makes sense to. If you look just at ERA, it kind of makes sense to put Nola at 79, which maybe that's what they were doing.
But that doesn't tell the whole story, specifically with Aaron Nola.
Like FIP and expected ERA are both.
They put Cedric Mullins ahead of him.
Yeah.
They put Anthony Rizzo ahead of him.
Yes, true.
That's crazy. That's actually nuts.
It's not great, but yeah, it was. I wonder how they went about choosing this list. I don't think it was like the shredder or anything.
I don't even know.
I don't know, and I don't know if I also don't know if they're projecting it for 2023 or basing it off of like where these players are at like right now. It does say top 100 players right now.
I think it's heading into 2023, but still, there's no reason, regardless of what you're looking at, there's no reason to believe Aaron Nola is the 79th best player in baseball.
Yeah. Yeah, like just looking at strikeouts and walks and things of that nature, it's not great. Not a great evaluation there. But yeah, so the MLB Network. I knew I wanted to sort of delve into this after I saw 100 through 90, and I saw like Jazz Chisholm ahead of Logan Webb and Rhys Hoskins ahead of Logan Webb. Like when Logan Webb was revealed on the first day, like after what he's been able to do the past couple of years, I was like, okay,
here we go, baby.
I need to talk about this. So, yeah, they do it every year. Obviously there's going to be some flops, but they mostly had it. They had the top two correct. I will say that. Yep. Ohtani, Judge in the right order. They're the best two players right now. But yeah, after that, there were a couple question marks. All right. So your rant.
So this happened over the weekend. There was a article published on Cincinnati.com by a journalist named Jason Williams, I believe it was. The headline on Twitter: Thom Brennaman has made amends. He's apologized profusely. He's a changed man. He's a good man. Who's willing to give him a shot? Many schools need to upgrade at ESPN Plus play-by-play. Perfect platform to get Thom Brennaman back calling games. Now, I just want to be clear. I don't really care if Thom Brennaman has a job or not. But why are we campaigning for this guy? Like, let's remember, Chris, why Thom Brennaman is in this position in the first place. Thom Brennaman said a word on air that makes a very, very short list of words that you cannot say. Not just on air, but period.
Yeah.
If there was a list of it makes a very short list of words you can't say.
Yeah.
And if you're willing to say that word in a professional workplace setting while you're wearing a microphone, like even if you think it's off, if you are wearing a microphone, there's always the risk that it's on.
Yeah.
I do broadcasting at my school, and I get trained to understand that if you're in a professional workplace setting wearing a microphone and you have no problem throwing that word around like it's like in the context that he did, I'm sorry, but I don't believe that it was a one-time mistake accident that will never happen again.
It just fluttered.
Like,
out
are you
right
telling? Yeah, are you telling me that there's that word that you never say, but you did say it in that setting? I don't believe you.
Yeah,
I don't believe you.
Yeah, and also like, even if even in a scenario where like, okay, maybe if you're not offended by it, you at least have to know, like, this is an expectation in a professional world that, like, if this thing happens, you don't get to keep your job or do that. But also there's a lot of things with this. It's also that it's Thom Brennaman. It's not like, it's not Vin Scully. It's not Don Orsillo. It's not people get really excited to listen to this particular person. It's Thom Brennaman. I don't know. He's good, like, professionally. Like, he sounds like a professional. However, like, I don't know. It's not someone anyone really gets excited about.
But I can't get over the headline for, like, we're supposed to feel bad for this guy. Like,
right.
that's the way it's put together. It's like, he's a changed man, but, like, he said sorry. Like, so many times he said sorry. Mm-hmm. Like, you gotta, like, it sounded like we were supposed to feel bad for him, and I just can't get behind that. And also, let's not forget, Thom Brennaman is the son of Marty Brennaman, who spent 46 years in the Reds booth. Let's not act like we don't know how Thom Brennaman got his job. Like, right. Maybe he went to journalism school and did broadcasting and whatever, but let's be honest, we know why he got the job. I'm not saying he didn't deserve it, but we know why he got it.
Yeah.
Right? Like, there are people that probably wanted that job that didn't get it because they were not Marty Brennaman's son.
Yeah.
So, Thom Brennaman had just about the easiest path to the broadcast booth that you can imagine. Like, I'm not saying he never had to put in work, but he had a spot, because of his dad. And he blew it.
Right.
Like, he had the easiest path. Chris, you and I are entering the professional workplace next year, and we've put together a portfolio over the last 4 years that we've, worked our asses off doing. And we know that we're not guaranteed anything. Like, I think that's something that we're aware with. It's scary, but that's part of life. Thom Brennaman was just given that seat in the booth, and he blew it.
Yeah.
And we're supposed to feel bad for him because he apologized and he changed, and no one's willing to give him a chance, because another thing, it just comes off like he's entitled to a job. Yeah. And it just doesn't make any sense, because there are so many young broadcasters that deserve a chance too, that probably have not said homophobic slurs on air or even in general.
Yeah, and I'd be much more sympathetic if it was a 24-year-old guy who hasn't made a name for himself and hasn't made really any money in the profession yet, and obviously made a mistake and would have to. I'd feel more sympathetic for that guy who hasn't actually made any money off of broadcasting yet, whereas Thom Brennaman's fine.
Yeah.
In life he's gonna be fine. He'll be all right.
And I mean,
can give better chances to better.
Going back to the giving a younger broadcaster a chance. Look at a guy like Joe Davis. Joe Davis is in his mid-30s. He's calling the World Series. He's calling the Championship Series in either league, depending on the year. He's broadcasting the Dodgers. He took Vin Scully's seat after he retired, and he's doing amazing. And people love Joe Davis. He's great. There are two types of baseball fans during the World Series: people that like Joe Davis and people that miss Joe Buck. There's nobody that doesn't like Joe Davis. They just prefer Joe Buck.
Yeah, right. True. Yeah, very true.
We don't need to act like we need to give these computer-generated AI broadcasters jobs after they've already messed up, like Thom Brennaman. And by the way, let's talk about Marty Brennaman for a second, because he wasn't exactly the nicest guy ever. He, on several instances, talked about Joey Votto in the most negative light ever. And, I mean, personally, if you have beef with Joey Votto, then I have beef with you, because that can't happen. In 2015, Marty Brennaman said that Joey Votto should not be trying to lead the league in on-base percentage. Shame on this guy for trying to get on base safely and get out at the lowest rate. This idiot who we're paying money to is trying to be really good.
Yeah.
This guy. In 2013, he complained that Votto was not doing enough to live up to his contract because he was only on pace for 80 RBI. He was slashing 300, 400, 500 in that time, and it was June. He had already played enough games to where it mattered, and Marty Brennaman said, you're not doing enough because you're not driving guys in. And he was hitting extremely well. He was hitting at MVP type level. Yeah. And it's let me guess, man. Let's look at who's batting above him in the order there. Because we all know that RBI is a metric of opportunity.
Right.
You're only going to drive in runs if you have more chances to drive in runs. And Joey Votto did not have chances to drive in runs. That's just how it is. The Reds had a 98 OPS plus that season.
Yeah, and the leader in RBI last year, Pete Alonso, had the most plate appearances with runners in the scoring position.
Yeah, so and not only that, but going back to Thom Brennaman for a second, like you mentioned, no one's excited to watch Thom Brennaman. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
they're not, and that's the case with most broadcasters. How many, if I asked you to name every play-by-play broadcaster for Major League Baseball teams, you could probably get, 10 of them, maybe 15?
Yeah, not even.
And that's not a disrespect to anyone that we can't name. It's just, these are the guys that we know and love.
Right.
Right? Dave Sims is awesome. He is phenomenal. Jason Benetti is awesome. Don Orsillo is awesome. And you know what? All three of those guys are awesome in their own way. They're so unique to one another, but they're still really great. Jason Benetti will teach you stuff, and that's not even the play-by-play guy's job. Dave Sims, you can hear the passion in his voice when he calls Mariners games. He's a fan. Mm-hmm. You can tell he wants the... And I think, obviously as a play-by-play broadcaster, you're taught to be neutral, but, you're on your own team's network. It's okay. I think it's okay to be a fan because most people watching are fans. Dave Sims is a fan, and he's awesome at what he does. Don Orsillo, he's a personality. He's a guy that you can get to know through the booth. All this is to say, there are so many ways to be a good broadcaster, and there are also so many ways to just be a broadcaster.
Yeah.
Why are we pleading to give broadcasters a chance when we could give good broadcasters a chance?
Right. And a lot of it part of that article was like, you see it with these college play-by-play guys, and like give them time to develop.
Yeah.
Like you don't
Seriously.
like obviously they're growing and learning and getting better as they go along. Don't just halt that.
Dude, it's like watching a D3 college baseball team and be like, man, some of the guys I've seen here, they're not good. We need some D1 guys on this team.
Yeah.
Like that's what we're talking about there.
Yeah, there's some examples of players I could throw out, but I don't want to get into of like players that could come back from the MLB after being banished.
Yeah.
It's like let's get them onto Springfield College.
Yeah, seriously. Yeah, no, I know what you're talking about, but yeah.
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 But yeah, I don't know. That's a weird article, especially for someone who was just not really that not very unique to listen to.
I was just say, what percent of baseball fans could have named the Reds play-by-play broadcaster before that day?
Right.
I'm saying less than 1%.
Yeah.
Especially of non-Reds fans. Reds fans probably inflate it by a lot. But
yeah.
If we're asking non-Reds fans, I think it's less than 1%.
Probably. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. It's weird.
So anyway, that's my rant. I don't understand why we're campaigning for Thom Brennaman to have a job, and we're acting like it's a travesty that he doesn't have a job. And like, if he gets a job, then he gets a job. Whatever.
He wasn't like a legendary broadcaster. He was
the son of a legendary broadcaster.
He was just a guy who was like good at the professional aspect of broadcasting.
Yeah.
I mean, he was able to get that promo out after the after the slur. Reds Live, the pregame show, presented by Ray St. Clair Roofing. If you want to get me to laugh, just randomly say Reds Live, the pregame show, presented by Ray St. Clair Roofing. I'll know.
Yeah.
I'll make sure I know.
Chris and I used to be at college parties, and like we would look at each other from across the room and start saying the call. And there's a drive to deep left field by Castellanos, and that'll be a home run, and that'll make it a 4-0 ball game. I don't know if I'm going to be putting on this headset again. I don't know if it'll be for the Reds. I don't know if it'll be for
my bosses here at Fox.
I want to apologize for the people who signed my paycheck.
Yeah.
Like we would go through the whole thing. I don't know if you've seen, but there's a Sporkle quiz where it's just every word.
Yep,
like
individually. You showed it
to me, which is good.
He has given us a lot of positive.
He's given us some content, no doubt. But you know what? That's where it stops.
That's where, we'll stop.
The sequel will never be funnier than the original.
That moment will never happen again.
I hope not. Otherwise, that would be really bad.
Yeah.
Imagine they give him a job again. He's like, guys.
Yeah,
I have not changed.
He's just the Brockmeyer guy. Yeah, that was a show.
Someone. I don't know why I didn't see this coming, but someone quote tweeted, "Thom Brennaman has made amends. He's apologized profusely. He's a changed man." As there's a drive into deep left
field. Beautiful. Yeah, that's his most famous call. It's
an all-timer.
Really, that's what you need to know. like Vince Scully had, in a year that has been so improbable, the impossible has happened.
Yeah. Joe Buck had, it hasn't happened in 86 years.
Or 95 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. And back to folk, he has it.
Yeah, that's what I meant to say.
Hands to first, the Boston Red Sox are.
Yeah.
Brennaman has. I pride myself as a man of faith.
It's also just like the fact that it was during the pandemic season made it so much funnier.
It really did. Just Castellanos hammering a ball.
There's dead silence. You don't hear fan sounds.
Castellanos hitting a ball into nobody.
Into the no judgment zone.
Yeah. It was great.
Yeah, dude. The fact that there wasn't fan sounds and it was just dead silence on the broadcast made it so much funnier.
Yeah, because they were the away team.
Mm-hmm.
They couldn't have pumped the noise.
Yeah.
Just a great moment.
Truly an all-timer.
Truly one of the moments of all time. But yeah, we have some previews to get into.
Yeah, we do.
Usually, at this point in the season, usually it's just previews. So we like to spice it up with some other segments to talk about. And it did help that Manny Machado got extended. Hopefully, we'll be talking about some more extensions, or not. Hopefully no one else gets extended, and then they all sign with the Red Sox next off season.
Yeah.
But because the Red Sox has extended their guy that they needed to extend. I'm good with that.
Yeah.
But yeah, the AL Central we are about to preview. It was the next on the randomizer list that we created. So yeah, we'll start off with the Kansas City Royals, who went 65-97 last year and finished last in the AL Central. They lost Michael Taylor, Adalberto Mondesi, Wyatt Mills, and Luke Weaver. They added Jordan Lyles, Ryan Yarbrough, Johan Camargo, Aroldis Chapman, and Josh Taylor. Who do you have to watch on the Kansas City Royals?
My player to watch is everyone's player to watch. It's America's player to watch. I'm talking about Vinny Pasquantino.
Yeah.
He was one of 8 hitters last year with more than 250 plate appearances to record more walks than strikeouts. He had an 11.7% walk rate, an 11.4% strikeout rate. He was shifted against 93% of his plate appearances last year, and his WOBA without the shift was 60 points higher than his WOBA with the shift. And I know that it is a small sample size. We're only accrediting for 7% of his at-bats, but that's encouraging, especially with the shift ban coming this year. He had a run value per 100 of 2 on 4 different pitches last year with 10 plate appearances. 2.9 on slider, 2.0 on curveball, 8.6 on cutter, with about 18 plate appearances, and 2.5 on splitter. So he hit several pitches very well over the course of last year. He also had a whiff rate of 15.4%. The league average was 24.7%. He had a chase contact rate of 70.5%. The league average was 58.3%. His zone contact rate was 90.4%. The league average was 82%. And he also posted a hard hit rate of 47.9% and an average exit velocity of 91.2 miles per hour. He was one of 6 players in 2022 with at least 250 plate appearances to have both a zone contact rate and an average exit velocity in the 90s. The other 5 were Mookie Betts, Yandy Diaz, Alejandro Kirk, Albert Pujols, and Ke'Bryan Hayes. And Vinny Pasquantino was among that list as well.
Yeah, Pasquantino is a true anomaly, and
yeah,
I really hope he can keep doing this, even though I understand it might not be possible to keep doing this. But his ability to make contact and have it be super hard contact as well, it's you just don't see that really from anybody. His contact rate is so high, and his average exit velocity is high, and he hits the ball in the right direction too. It's pretty unbelievable, and it's crazy that out of all the rookies last year between Witt, Melendez, Prado, and him, he was the guy that was least looked at, and he ended up being the best out of that group, which is a really good sign for the Royals. If a guy that was kind of unknown ended up really breaking out, because guys like Witt, Melendez, and Prado are also due to break out at some point.
Yeah.
It just hasn't happened yet. So yeah, as I preface with the Royals, they have a lot of young power in the MLB, at the major league level already, with Pasquantino, as you just mentioned, Bobby Witt Jr., and Nick Prado and MJ Melendez, and also, Brady Singer's been there for a couple of years, but he's also on the younger side as a great pitcher. So I'm not talking about any of them. I'm talking about a guy who I don't have a crazy amount of analysis on, but he kind of flies under the radar. For the Royals, he might be on the older side, but he's only heading into his age 27 season. I'm talking about Edward Olivares. I think he's projected 5th or 6th in their lineup.
Yes, he is.
He hit 286 with a 743 OPS last year, 110 OPS plus in 174 plate appearances. I think I got a spam call coming in. I don't think I'm expecting that call. Edward Olivares also had a 38.9% hard hit rate and a 28.7% line drive rate, and also a 288 expected batting average. So he was actually expected to hit better than he ended up doing. And among hitters with 100-plus batted balls, His hard hit rate was in the top 45%. Line drive rate was in the top 6%, and expected batting average was in the top 4%. And Edward Olivares, also, if you must know, had the same exact expected batting average as batting champion Luis Arraez. So he's, he gets on base via the hit a lot. He doesn't have a crazy amount of power, but, someone to look out for among all the young star power with Brady Singer, Vinny Pasquantino, Bobby Witt Jr., MJ Melendez, and Nick Pratto. He's also a guy to look at to maybe contribute to the Royals. All right, question time.
All right, my question is, it revolves around another person on the quote-unquote older side. Over under 300 OBP for Salvador Perez.
I know he was at, I think
301 last year.
And he was
no, maybe that's what his projections are this year. Sorry.
I think he was at 315 in 2021, which was the best catcher season ever. I say that in jest. Last year, I think he was probably in the 280s. Salvador Perez was. I'm gonna be nice and say he hits the over. I want to see what he was at last year. I think he was in the 280s. If I'm not mistaken. Just want to double check. Because I think I'll say he gets above. Because, maybe he'll hit he was 292 last year.
Okay.
On base.
He's going into what, his age 33 season?
Yeah.
He's a lot younger than I thought.
Yep. He just came up really early, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, it'll be nice. He'll get above 300, I'd say. My question. Could, the candidates involve the player you just asked, but very, very simple because I think there's a lot of interesting candidates for a variety of reasons. Who will lead the team in home runs?
Okay. Who will lead the team in home runs? So, I mean, Witt, I don't know how much his power has really developed or how much he's supposed to have.
I think he had 20 homers last year.
Yeah, Pasquantino. MJ hit a decent number of them last year.
I think
that was kind of just all he did.
Almost had 20.
Yeah.
He had 18 or so.
MJ hit a lot in the minors too. You know what? I'm gonna say MJ Melendez.
Nice.
It's a bold pick, but I'm gonna go with him.
Yep. So you have MJ Melendez as the Royals' home run leader for 2023.
You said do.
So now we move on to the Detroit Tigers. Who were a game better than the Royals. They went 66-96, finished fourth in the AL Central. They lost Gregory Soto, Andrew Chafin, Joe Jimenez, Jamer Candelario, Willie Castro, and Harold Castro. And they added Matt Vierling, Matthew Boyd, Michael Lorenzen, Matt Whistler, Cesar Hernandez, and Nick Matone. Nick Maton.
Yeah.
Was it Phil Matone?
I think it's Maton for both.
Phil Maton.
Yeah.
Damn. I'll start with my Tigers player to watch. My Tigers player to watch is Matt Vierling, who they acquired. He's a center fielder heading into his age 26 season, and he was acquired in the Gregory Soto deal. He hit 246 with a 648 OPS last year, which isn't great, but he got very unlucky. Out of 224 hitters with 250-plus batted balls last year, he had the fifth unluckiest difference in batting average and expected batting average, and the third unluckiest difference in WOBA and expected WOBA. Just in terms of quality of contact last year, his average exit velocity and hard hit rate were 86th and 85th percentile respectively, and his expected batting average was in the 93rd percentile. Also, his whiff rate was in the 80th percentile, and his strikeout minus walk rate was better than average for a hitter. And along with that, out of 224 hitters last year, his line drive rate was 15th highest. He was top 7% in terms of hitting line drives, which is probably why his expected batting average was so high. It was, his expected batting average was also top 7%. And Matt Vierling is also really fast. He hasn't really figured out a way to get a ton of stolen bases yet, but his sprint speed is in the 97th percentile, so that's something to look out for, both on in the field, on the bases, and when he's after he hits the ball, see how many bases he can get. So Matt Vierling, I think potentially he could win the Tigers the the Gregory Soto trade. We'll see about it. Who is your Tigers player to watch?
My Tiger to watch is not projected to be on the opening day roster, which is interesting. But I'm talking about Joey Wentz, who is a left-handed pitcher. Joey Wentz threw his fastball 55.2% of the time last year. Opponents hit .209 against it with a .343 slugging. He threw his cutter 21.8% of the time last year. Opponents hit .154 against it, but with a .423 slugging. So none of that sounds too outrageous until you get a little deeper. The cutter outperformed the fastball in expected batting average. The cutter had an expected batting average of 173, the fastball of 215. In X-slugging, 255 to 370. In X-woba, 176 to 334. In average exit velocity, 888 to 91 miles per hour. In whiff rate, 38.9% to 14.1%.
Wow.
And in put-away percentage, 39% to 12%. Can you give me one reason why Joey Wentz is throwing his fastball 55% of the time and his cutter 21% of the time? One of them is significantly better than the other. In fact, you can easily make the case that his fastball is his worst pitch, and he throws it over half the time. He has fastball velocity in the lowest 10 percentile. There is no reason to believe this guy should be throwing his fastball at that rate. Among the 129 pitchers to have at least 25 plate appearances and on their cutter, Wentz ranked 6th in batting average, 7th in WOBA, 5th in expected batting average, 7th in expected slugging, 2nd in xWOBA, 5th in whiff percentage, and 1st in put-away percentage. Joey Wentz should be throwing his cutter more. He would be a much better pitcher if he did. The Tigers need to make that change.
Yeah, that would be solid. Acquired in the Shane Green trade, by the way. I remember keeping track of that because I was worried that teams were going to give up a big prospect for Shane Green. He had Shane Green had like a low 1 ERA, but like a 4 FIP.
Yeah.
And I was worried teams were going to get fooled, but no. But yeah, Joey Wentz, someone to look out for. Very interesting analysis. Typically I don't dive that deep on a guy like Joey Wentz, but yeah, that's pretty crazy to think about. How many innings did he get with the Tigers last year?
Not that many. Probably like 60 or so. Maybe not even.
That's still like full-time reliever level.
Yeah, he had not even close. 32.2 innings, but still, yeah. I stand by my point.
Still large enough sample size, but yeah, could get some. If he switches to his cutter, could get more innings. Who knows?
Yeah.
Question time. My question. I went a little more creative with this one. In 2022, free agent additions Javier Baez and Eduardo Rodriguez had a 93 OPS plus and 93 ERA plus, respectively.
That's cool.
Who has the higher number in their respected league adjusted category this season?
Okay, so league adjustments are not going to be, or ballpark adjustments are not going to be friendly to Erod. They are going to be friendly to Javier Baez because Comerica is very pitcher friendly. And I'm gonna say Baez. I think he's gonna make the adjustment better than he did the year before. I'm gonna go Javier Baez.
All right, sounds good.
My question. I'm sure you've seen that Comerica is adjusting its outfield dimensions. It's bringing the center field fence 10 feet in. It's lowering the wall. It's lowering the walls in center field, right center, and right field. And in the last 2 seasons, 2021 and 2022 respectively, Comerica has had the lowest home run to fly ball ratio of every ballpark in the majors. Will that stay the same this year despite the dimension changes?
That's a good question. You got to think about its competitors.
Yes.
Well, Comerica, it's reigning defending, but at holding balls in. But Oakland is always one to keep a baseball in. San Francisco as well. But yeah, interesting question with high home run to fly ball ratio, because it does depend basically on, the Tigers aren't one to hit a lot of home runs in general. But their opponents, I don't know. I'll say I say they keep the crown because I don't know. It's cold in Detroit.
Yeah,
it'll hold the baseball in. So I say they keep the crown, despite the construction crew trying to take away what's rightfully theirs. I say Comerica keeps the home run.
We need the 415-foot to center field flyouts to stay.
It makes the Mike Napoli home run look even way cooler.
Yeah.
When he hit it over the tree
bushes.
that one time.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Tigers are interesting. Not to get too deep into them, but they had so many disappointments last year. They had Austin Meadows hit 0 home runs. Javier Baez.
He's back and doing better this year.
Yeah, Baez and Rodriguez, massive disappointments. Spencer Torkelson was not what he was supposed to be in his rookie year. Riley Green didn't look too bad.
He had a 99 OPS plus.
Yeah, he was all right.
There's reason to believe he can do better.
Yeah.
But he also didn't do awful, so that's good.
Yeah. So now we move on to the Minnesota Twins, who went 78-84 and finished third in the AL Central. They lost Luis Arraez, Gio Urshela, Gary Sanchez, Chris Archer, Michael Fulmer, Dylan Bundy, and Miguel Sano. They added Pablo Lopez, Christian Vasquez, Joey Gallo, Willie Castro, and Derek Rodriguez. Who is your player to watch from Minnesota?
Well, they also lost Carlos Correa and then got him back.
Yes.
Multiple times they lost Carlos Correa.
They did do that. They lost Correa twice and then added him.
Yeah.
It was pretty crazy.
I think we know who my Twins player is. Of course, I seized the opportunity I saw, and I took Jose Miranda as my Twins player to watch. Pitchers that throw sinkers against them are helpless. Among the 1,302 hitters to have at least 50 plate appearances end on any pitch, Miranda's 6.1 RV100 against sinkers is the second highest. That means for every 100 sinkers he was thrown, he's produced about 6 runs. He hit 362 against sinkers with a 609 slugging percentage and a 480 WOBA. Needless to say, he hits them nonstop. Miranda had a 41% ground ball rate against sinkers last year. This ranked the 19th lowest among the 195 hitters with at least 50 batted balls against sinkers. He looked at the thing you're supposed to do against sinkers, and he said no to it. Miranda also had a 300 average on pitches on the inner third of the strike zone. He slugged 571 on them, and he had a 366 WOBA on pitches, again, on the inner third of the strike zone. You do not want to meet him inside. Jose Miranda is going to have another solid year for the Twins. He'll be back.
Yeah, he really blew us all away. Sorry, I'm looking at I'm on Spotify.
I know exactly what song you're looking at too.
Yeah. Shout out to Lin-Manuel Miranda's cousin,
Yes.
Jose Miranda. Yeah, he's actually really good. My player to watch, just by looking at his stats, you can see he hasn't been good the last couple years, but I'm doing a sequel on the shift guys.
Yeah.
I'm talking about Max Kepler. He is someone who could benefit greatly from the lack of shift in 2023. Last year he hit 227 but had a 266 expected batting average. He slugged 348 but had a 412 expected slugging. In the last 2 years, Max Kepler has been shifted against 89.6% of the time. And on 276 pulled balls by Kepler since the start of 2021, he has been expected to have a 358 batting average, but instead is hitting 269 on those batted balls. So it's about, I think it's an 89-point difference on batted balls that Max Kepler pulls. Out of 118 batters to pull 250-plus batted balls in the last 2 years, Kepler has had the unluckiest difference in batting average and expected batting average. And on 150 pulled ground balls in the last 2 years, Kepler is hitting 100, a flat 100 on 150 pulled ground balls. Out of 89 hitters to pull 150-plus grounders in the last 2 years, Kepler's batting average on those grounders is second lowest. League average on ground balls is about 241, and Kepler's batting average on ground balls is like 140 points below that. Another reason to look out for Kepler is other offensive improvements he's made. He dropped his strikeout rate 4.8 percentage points from 2021 to 2022, which was the lowest strikeout rate of his career. He also dropped his pop-up rate 3.8 percentage points from 2021 to 2022.
Big.
And that was the lowest pop-up rate of his career. And he also dropped his whiff rate 3.1 percentage points. Defensively, he's excellent. Defensively, he had the 6th most outs above average for outfielders in 2022, and he's had the 6th most outs above average for outfielders since the stat started in 2016. So not only was he great defensively last year, he's been great his entire career defensively. And now that the shift is going away, there's opportunity for him to get more hits and be an even bigger contributor to the Minnesota Twins. What were you laughing at when you were
A future question.
Okay. What is
not even my Twins question?
What is your Twins question?
My Twins question: buy or sell? Joe Ryan gets Cy Young votes this year.
Buy or sell? Joe Ryan gets Cy Young votes. He had like a low 3s, upper 2s ERA last year.
I think he had. I want to say it was like high 3s.
High 3s. Yeah, it might be tough. He's not
355.
He doesn't get a ton of strikeouts. His walk rate's very low.
He had 9.2 strikeouts per 9 last year.
Yeah.
Not like otherworldly, but
slightly above average, yeah. I say sell.
Okay.
I think he's good, but I don't think he'll get Cy Young votes this year.
Fair enough.
My question's about a different Twins pitcher. Since the start of 2020, Pablo Lopez has a 3.52 ERA. Will he raise or lower that mark this year?
3.52.
He's been kind of up and down a little bit.
Yeah, he has been. He's going to be going from the NL East to the AL Central. I think that will probably benefit him.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll say he lowers it.
Nice.
Yeah.
That would be good for the Twins.
I think the ballpark factor won't be too extreme. I think Lone Depot Park and Target Field are relatively similar.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, he'll be facing the Twins and Royals, or the Tigers and Royals pretty consistently.
Fair.
The White Sox and Guardians offense, we don't exactly know what to expect from them.
Right.
I guess he is facing them less than he was facing the divisional opponents last year. It's another thing to factor in.
True.
He's only facing them like max 4 times a year.
True, yeah.
But still, I don't know. I think it's worth taking into consideration.
Yeah, I mean, Sonny Gray is a guy who went from a different team, came to the Twins, and saw improvement.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll go into it more during the predictions episode, but I'm curious what Tyler Mahle has in store for the Twins this year.
Yeah, he's a free agent after this year, I believe.
Yeah, he's, he was the guy where he got traded from the Reds, he's going to do better, and then he.
Same with Sonny Gray even.
Yeah, but Gray actually did better. Mahle, I think he had 4 starts and then got injured, so can't really rely too much on the data there. But anyway,
he did indeed make exactly 4 starts.
Yeah,
and he gave up 2.2. How many of the starts were in Minnesota? Because he gave up 2.2 home runs per 9.
I don't know how many were in Minnesota.
2 of them.
2 of them.
And he gave up 3 home runs to the Blue Jays.
Fair.
To be fair, he gave up 3 home runs in 1 game. That's much of it.
Yeah.
And then if you take out that start and look at the other 3, he had a 3.48 ERA with a 3.89 FIP.
Nice.
It's not great, not bad.
Well, yeah, we'll see what it's like in a full season. But yeah, I thought it was a good trade last year, and I still do.
Yeah.
We'll see about it. Moving on to the next team, the Chicago White Sox. They were a big disappointment last year. They went 81-81, finished second in the AL Central. Over the offseason, they lost Jose Abreu, most notably, also AJ Pollock, Vince Velasquez, Danny Mendick, and Adam Engel. They added Andrew Benintendi, Victor Reyes, Mike Clevenger temporarily. I don't know what they're going to do with him. Jake Marisnick and Hanser Alberto. And I will start for the White Sox. I will start with my player to watch, who is really a beer league softball player. It's Jake Berger. He is not a projected starter, but could fill in at DH, first base, or third base. In 183 plate appearances last year, he hit .250 with a 760 OPS. His average exit velocity was 90.7 miles per hour, which was in the top 16% of hitters with 100-plus batted balls last year. His barrel rate was 14.9%, which was in the top 5% of hitters with 100-plus batted balls last year. Against lefties, Jake Burger was phenomenal. He hit .326, slugged .651, and had a .1039 OPS against lefties in 2022. Out of 393 hitters with 45-plus plate appearances against lefties last year, his slugging ranked 7th and OPS ranked 8th out of 393. Also against lefties, he had a 28.6% barrel rate.
Wow.
Out of 407 hitters with 25-plus batted balls against lefties last year, Burger had the highest barrel rate against lefties. So what I'll say about that is the projected starting first baseman for the White Sox is Andrew Vaughn, who is a righty, so you would assume that's not really a platoon option for Jake Burger. However, Andrew Vaughn did worse against lefties than he did with righties last year. So there is a potential platoon option because Vaughn does better against righties than he does lefties. And Burger obviously does way better against lefties than he does against righties. So, who knows? That could be an option. Also, if a corner infielder gets injured, Burger is a good guy to replace them. But he provides hitting, barrels, not too much else, but he hits the ball really well.
Yeah.
Who is your player to watch?
My player to watch is a pitcher. I'm talking about Michael Kopech. His issue last year was finding the strike zone. 19.7% of total pitches he threw last year ended in game day zone 11, which means it was up and in to, I think, righties.
It's up.
Yeah, it's up and into righties, I believe. Anyway, that is the highest rate of any season in the StatCast era among the 763 seasons where a pitcher threw at least 200 pitches total. So he's got to get the ball down a little bit. But there are some things he did well. Kopech had a 35.3% fly ball rate last year. That was the fourth highest among the 184 pitchers with at least 200 batted balls allowed. Opponents hit 189 off of fly balls against Kopech, the seventh lowest on that list, the same list of 184. They slugged .631, which obviously it's fly balls. You can't expect a perfectly good slugging percentage, but that .631 is well below the league average of .798. He did lose 2.5 miles per hour off his fastball between 2021 and 22. But his fastball does have 98th percentile spin, so, it still has something on it. So I think it'll be very interesting to see Kopech try to succeed in the majors in a way unlike the way he succeeded in the minors.
Yep. Yeah, Kopech, Kopech has been kind of like always a name. He popped off in the Red Sox system, was obviously part of the Chris Sale trade, made a name off of high fastball velocity, but has had to make some adjustments. He's already had a Tommy John surgery in his career. He's always a guy we've been kind of waiting on. So, I mean, it'll come probably. Yeah. He's still in his mid-20s, I think. Now it's question time. My question is about two pitchers who kind of had down years last year. Who will have the better ERA, Lance Lynn or Lucas Giolito?
I'll go with Giolito. He's in a contract year. I think there's reason to believe. I mean, he's younger. I think he'll have the better ERA. I don't really have much else to say there. My question: the White Sox have gone from 5th to 16th to 26th in team ISO over the last 3 seasons between 2020 and 2022. Of course, they have new management and new coaching staff in this year. Which of those 3 numbers, 5th, 16th, 26th, will they be closest to in Team ISO this year?
That's a good question. Matt, it depends a lot on, it depends on power. I think a lot of that has had to do with guys like Eloy Jimenez and Luis Robert not really being very healthy. I'm trying to think about their lineup. They didn't really lose anyone, or they lost Jose Abreu in the lineup. That's their big blow.
That's tough.
And they added Andrew Benintendi, who's not gonna, he'll be good, but he won't add he won't increase their ISO.
Yeah.
So I'll say they're closer to 16th.
Okay.
I think they'll be kind of average. And now we move on to the last team, the AL Central champions, which we didn't really expect last year. I think we both had them 4th place, but to our defense, we said they weren't going to be a bad 4th place.
Yeah.
not like the Tigers' 4th place with 66 wins. However, we did misjudge them, and we were kind of looking right through like July, and then they
started winning games.
They turned
basically.
Up. They won 24 of their last 30
yeah.
and won the division. But we're talking about the Guardians. They went 92-70 last year, won the AL Central, beat the Rays in the wild card round, and lost to the Yankees in the ALDS. Over the offseason, not a lot of action. They lost Owen Miller, Luke Maley, Oscar Mercado, and Austin Hedges. And they added Josh Bell and Mike Zunino. Who is your Guardians player to watch?
So my Guardians player to watch is Tristan McKenzie.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit of more high-profile name, but I mean, I think it's someone who should get recognition.
T.J. McKenzie's brother.
Yeah, true. From July 1st through the end of last season, he led the American League in FWAR.
Mm-hmm.
Let me say that again. From July through the end of the season, he led the American League in FWAR. Before July, he had the 4th worst FWAR in the majors among qualifiers. The main reason for that change was because his home runs per 9 went from 1.79 to 0.73. He reduced it by a full home run per inning. So how did that happen? During this time, his average exit velocity... During this time, his average exit velocity went from 90.9 miles per hour to 88.5 miles per hour. His launch angle went from 21 degrees to 18 degrees. His spin rate went from 2250 to 2270. I promise that's not a significant enough change to suspect any cheating, but that's very good. His fly ball rate went from 36.8% to 28.7%. His pop-up rate went from 8.5% to 11.1%, and lastly, his barrel rate went from 12.1% to 7.9%. Tristan McKenzie did an excellent job of limiting the damage and giving up better contact in the second half of the season, and that's why he was the best pitcher in the American League during that time.
Yeah, wow. Tristan McKenzie, he had a great 2020. Then he kind of hit the hay a little bit in 2021 and then resurged last year, and he's a good guy to have, one of those like guys in the Cleveland system that was just churned out and made to do well, and he's doing well right now, which is good. On the younger side, I think he's like 26 or 27, so that's good. With my player to watch, I am talking about another pitcher, but a guy who has not seen any Major League action, and I don't know how much Major League action he's going to see this year, but I put him down anyway because he intrigued me. I'm talking about Daniel Espino, who is a 2019 first-round draft pick, 22-year-old right-handed pitcher, and a consensus top 25 prospect in baseball. He's also the top Guardians prospect, according to MLB.com. He's faced some injury problems, but in 133 and 2/3 career minor league innings, he has a 40.9% strikeout rate and a 31.1% strikeout minus walk rate. MLB.com gives him an 80 grade fastball and a 70 grade slider. If you don't know how the grades work, it's 20 through 80. I don't know. It's just how it's been in scouting forever. So it's 80 out of 80 for his fastball. They say his fastball operates at 95 to 98 miles per hour, but tops out at 103 miles per hour. So, Espino's a guy, you could see him in triple digits a few times in a game. Never a bad thing. And Daniel Espino, not too much analysis you can do, especially given he only has minor league experience. He can't go to Baseball Savant for him. But he could come up this year, help the rotation. The rotation beyond Bieber and McKenzie isn't too crazy.
Especially if this team's going to be competing in the playoffs.
Right.
You can't have Cal Quantrill in games 1 and 4 again.
Yeah,
or 1 and 5.
You got, it's like Quantrill, Savale, Zach Plesac. Daniel Espino has the potential to be better than all of them now. Yeah. Cleveland was 16th in starter FIP last year, and that includes Bieber and McKenzie. So not great beyond those two. Daniel Espino is my Guardians player to watch, although Excellent. I don't know how much time he'll get in the MLB this year.
Yeah.
Who knows? I've whiffed on guys on minor league prospects
Davis.
who just don't get a single appearance in the MLB.
Logan Gilbert 2020.
Yep.
Yeah. So my question, which is more likely? Jose Ramirez puts up the kind of season that we've seen from him year in and year out, and he gets the recognition he deserves. or Miles Straw hits a home run.
Yeah, Miles Straw hits a home run. Jose Ramirez is gonna have a 6-win season again. He's gonna put together like 32 homers and 21 stolen bases, and he'll get like 7th in the MVP vote. Miles
And Miles Straw will hit a home run.
Miles Straw will hit a home run.
For context, he hit 0 in 152 games played last year, with almost 600 plate appearances.
Yeah. Yeah. That's just a funny question. My question is about one of the best players on this team. Will Emmanuel Clase become the first pitcher ever with 3 consecutive seasons with 60-plus innings and a sub-1.4 ERA?
Wow, sub-1.4?
It's a lot to ask, but he's done it twice in a row.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's
All
see
right.
it. Let's see it. I'm buying it. I'm all in.
Yeah, he's already teetering on best reliever in baseball, and
he's definitely best reliever in the AL.
Definitely best reliever in the AL. Yeah, so that does it for the AL Central.
Yes, it does.
And that does it for the 229th edition of Above Replacement Radio. We hope you enjoyed this one. If you are listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, go to the YouTube channel. Check out all the digital content over there. It's called Above Replacement Radio. Likewise, if you're listening on YouTube, go to the Apple Podcasts and Spotify streams and subscribe to those. Along with that, follow us on social media. Follow me on Twitter at Chris_Gianta. Follow me on Instagram at Chris Gianta. Follow Daniel on both Twitter and Instagram at Daniel_Curran. And follow the show Instagram at Above Replacement Radio. We hope you enjoyed this one. We should talk. We're going to be talking about next week. I forgot
the AL West.
The AL West.
Yes.
So, yeah,
the Oakland Athletics.
It's the Oakland A's. It's the.
That's really it.
The Rangers and Angels. Will they be good? Who knows?
Nobody knows.
No one actually knows. But yeah, we hope you enjoyed this one. I'm just double checking. And we hope to see you next week where, we will be talking about the American League West. We will see you then.
This conversation is over.